Justice will be served here today. I assure you.
That, sir. Your eyes are messed up.
Yeah, my eyes are messed up.
Sir, I'll give you some shock therapy, okay?
Oh my God.
Feel better, Mr. Brown?
Alright, where do I sit?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
No, not okay. Shalene, get from behind there.
Shalene, sir, can you
Sir, you need to get back to the chair, sir. Thank you.
My bad.
I will be handing out community service for any outbursts in my courtroom.
No. What do I, man?
He need to clean his own gas station.
How about you go around, Shalene?
It's safe.
Sit chair.
Bastaram coming.
Okay, so you can go back there now. The fuck, how'd you get behind me?
That bitch Shalene so funny.
No, I don't.
Pablo, I will be giving these niggas community service. They better stop playing with me. Love you too, my king. You better not get to the nines, please. Be a cricket. No.
Mr. Brown, how are you today?
Ain't no crookedness.
Hey, how you doing today?
Oh, there go my guy, Rich
Do
Scott.
you remember me?
What's your name again?
How y'all doing today?
Ellen Ripley.
Ellen Ripley. Okay. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, huh?
What you need? Food? I got
Yeah.
I got milkshakes.
Hopefully, justice be served here today, and my innocence
Hey, if y'all do
be
need
proven.
food, I'm right here. KFC worker. If I need food, I'm right here.
Justice will definitely be served today.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll be satisfied, and pretty sure the community will be happy to have me back if justice is truly served.
E/sit chair.
I guess you and I have different versions of justice. Huh?
So those interruptions aren't going to be accepted, okay, man?
Yeah, you go.
Are you saying that I'm guilty until proven innocent?
Any outbursts will be
I'm just
resulted in
saying that
community
you
service,
and
just so
I
you guys know.
have two different versions of what
Sir,
justice
you
means.
obviously see this bench is taken and
I
everything you're
happen
coming
to
over
follow
here.
the Constitution and our amendments.
So get out of my...
You, on the other hand,
Excuse me, sir.
I'm not too sure. I guess we'll find
we're
out
talking
today.
about-
I mean, justice to me is the truth, Miss Ellen Ripley. And I would appreciate if you stopped throwing insults at me as if I was some type of criminal.
Sit on this side.
Sir, I've never called you a criminal before. Do you think of yourself as a criminal?
No, but I believe that you're treating me that way.
You're not in shackles, sir.
Yo, I gotta say this here real quick. Rick, come here.
How you doing today, Judge?
I'm doing great, young man. I
We've
want to
seen
say,
each other. We've seen each other about 4 times.
yeah, I'm kind of disappointed to see you again in here, young man.
I'm disappointed in our law enforcement for having me see you again in this type of fashion again. You know,
Well,
as you see, they will stop at nothing to try to put something on me.
They can stand up here.
well, we'll have our day in court today, and we're gonna find out what's what. I will be fair.
That's all I ask, Judge.
Are you representing yourself today, Mr. Brown?
Manny can do it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I've provided you with all the evidence in your emails.
Okay. Is it in you sent it directly to my email?
Directly to your email, yes.
Okay, I'll go over them as we go over those things. Judge, if you don't mind me asking, what we waiting on now?
I'm waiting on the evidence myself.
Okay, now sit down, bro.
Oh,
Sit
Judge,
chair.
I will send it as we speak. Unless you prefer I just send it all over now, I could do that.
No, that's totally fine. I'm just making
Yeah.
sure everyone is here. If everyone is here, we can actually get this thing started.
Like Reggie twin.
Will we have any more officers? Will the chief be here?
About to get called to the stand.
The chief, I believe, is
Get called to the stand.
behind us. Chief Zanley is here at the moment.
Oh,
He may
okay,
need to
okay.
leave midway through the court case as he has
Chat,
another
what y'all-
obligation outside of the city, but he's here at the moment.
All right, awesome. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. I'm gonna ask for an order in the court. Thank you. And court is in session. prosecution, you can go ahead and present your evidence.
My boy, you good,
Sure.
bro?
Well, I'll begin with an opening statement if that's okay, Judge.
That's perfect.
Yo, stay quiet in the back.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Today, the prosecution and the state intend to prove that Mr. Wanzo Brown was involved in the attempted murder of 2 law enforcement officers just a little over a day ago. The state intends to show evidence that shows that he was involved in what is known as a vehicle pursuit. You may hear officers use the term 1080, at which point he flipped the vehicle over a banister and proceeded to flee from the vehicle because the vehicle was no longer operational. 2 officers pursued him. He then drew his weapon and shot at these officers in an attempt to murder them. The officers were able to use lethal force, and he was apprehended at Pillbox Hospital, where he was found in possession of that weapon. The state also intends to prove that the vehicle that was used in the pursuit belonged to Mr. Wanzo Brown. He was apprehended wearing the same outfit that he shot at police officers in, and with the same weapon that was observed. That's it.
Thank you. Can the defense start with their opening statement?
Yes. Great city of Los Santos, good evening.
Yo, bro.
I want to start off by saying that, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I want to start off by saying that I've been in this courtroom several times on false accusations. False accusations that are proven. And now I'm once here again on false accusations. I want all you guys to know, at the time of my arrest initially, we had a chief named Chief Terry. And he sanctioned my arrest. Now that same chief is on suspension right now for doing more illegitimate things that he got caught up for. So I got arrested under jurisdiction of a corrupt chief. I'll have you guys know that. And like she said, my car was involved in a police chase. But when those officers first pulled the car over and the driver stepped out, the driver was not me, it was somebody else. I don't always drive my cars. And this is all proven, and this is all evidence that the police have and that the police know. I'm here today fighting for my innocence. And hopefully justice will be served, and that you guys will see that I didn't do anything. Thank you.
All right. The prosecution like to submit their first piece of evidence.
Absolutely, Your Honor. So the first piece of evidence that I'd like to submit is the incident report marked 59778, which accounts what happened on the day of the attempted murder of the law enforcement officers. As you can see, a mugshot photo was taken of Mr. Wanzo Brown, and as observed in the mugshot photo, he's wearing the same exact outfit that he was apprehended in. Now, I know Mr. Wanzo Brown, or the defense, is likely to claim that anyone can put that outfit on. Well, while that is true, not only was he found with the same outfit on, he was also found in his own vehicle with the same weapon used in the video evidence that was used to shoot at the police.
Where can I find the evidence?
It should be in your email. So
Okay.
incident number 59778. I can read that aloud for the court if you'd like, Judge.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay.
If I could look at that piece of evidence right quick.
Sure. It should be the second piece of evidence that was sent to you right underneath your mugshot.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go look at that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So, incident number 59778. Title is Wanzo Brown Attempted Murder of LEO. It was at postal location 224 at approximately 2:13 a.m. The description from the reporting officers, which is Chase Santana, Marvin Zanley, and Alonzo Tenpenny, says myself, Sergeant Tenpenny, and Officer Rose would be responding to a red Trackhawk that was possibly involved in a previous attempted murder of an LEO. Once on scene, the Trackhawk would flee down onto the Del Perro Freeway. They would get towards the hospital and minor 1050, which, if it's okay, Judge, in layman's terms, that is a vehicle crash.
Thank you.
They would then make a U-turn. They would then head down to Postal 227 on the freeway and take a jump off the freeway where the vehicle broke down. 2 individuals would get out of the vehicle. Myself and Sergeant Tenpenny would chase after a suspect, later known as Mr. Brown. He would lead us down to the canals next to Postal 224 where he would pull out a firearm, the FN-99, and use it to shoot at both of us. I would pull out my firearm and unload shots into Mr. Brown. He would then get placed under arrest at Pillbox, where I searched him to find the exact FN-99 and 200 plus 5.56 bullets.
Okay, now, Judge, if I could say something to that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
They say that they have the gun that how do they know what gun they got shot?
We intend to show that as well, Your Honor.
You say it was FN?
That is correct.
Have those FN shell casings and evidence?
You don't need shell casings to identify a weapon, only needed to identify that bullets were shot from said gun.
Your Honor, I believe that they are lying and they are tampering with evidence. If I shot a gun right here, right now, Judge, then you will be able to see the shell casing that belongs to that gun. And they do not have that. They don't know what gun they got shot at with. They making all this up. For example, they said they responded back with extreme force. They shot at me back after I shot at them, hypothetically, what they saying, right? But I was arrested at Pillbox. Where's the gap in between?
Judge, as you know, sometimes when you sustain wounds that would otherwise be fatal, you do magically end up at Pillbox. Unfortunately for Mr. Wanzo Brown's defense here, he was already radioed in prior to him going down. His outfit was described, and officers were already on standby at Pillbox due to another call. So they saw where he emerged from. He never went in, he only came out. Same outfit, car still matched, was in possession of the exact weapon inside the video footage which I intend to show here today.
And do you have such evidence to present?
I do.
Okay,
There are
you go
actually
ahead.
3 videos, sir. Let me see if I sent them to you. One moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
another way that I can prove to you that they're saying anything, Your Honor, they saying that I never went in, I only came out, right? Do they have proof that I never went in, Your Honor? Another
Do
thing
you
that's
have proof that you never went in?
I don't have to prove anything. The burden of proof is on the state. I'm innocent. I am standing on my innocence. You have to show that I'm guilty, but you guys haven't done yet. Now, Your Honor, I did go into Pillbox and I came out of Pillbox. Now they're saying somehow magically that I never went in. I only came out. Now, Your Honor, let's say that it is true that if your wounds aren't fatal, then you magically go somewhere, right? Those officers will have to be wizards to know where I'm going. And I believe that we're all human beings. I believe wizards only exist at Hogwarts in the movie Harry Potter, not here in Los Santos. So for them to know where I would magically pop up at after I disappear is belligerent, Your Honor, and they're in
I
here saying
object, Your
anything.
Honor. This circusry needs to just stop. All right, Mr. Brown. As you know, officers are posted all around the city at any given time. Officers were already at the hospital, and we have these little things. They're called walkie-talkies. They allow officers to communicate from long distances.
Your Honor, I object. Is it officers at Pillbox now?
I'm sure that there are. They could be posted anywhere in the city. I didn't say that they stand command at Pillbox, Mr. Brown.
But they happen to be standing command just so conveniently for your case today.
Let's move on to the next piece of evidence if you have no other points, Mr. Brown.
Come on, bro, shut the fuck up.
Which one is that? Which piece of evidence is that?
It should be the video next in line. The first video underneath the incident report that I sent to you. right. Has everybody had the chance to see that? Mr. Brown and Judge Mathis.
Okay, I'm
were
sorry.
able to see that piece?
I'm sorry. I just got done watching the evidence.
I'm
Sure.
still
So-
watching the last piece. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Did you want me to watch all of them, or just the one where the car went off?
We'll start with that one. That one I think
Okay.
is important here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I've watched that one.
Okay, Miss Ellen, did you want
Okay.
to say anything about that
I
before
sure
I say
did.
something?
So,
Okay.
other than observing the man fleeing from the vehicle wearing the same outfit that Mr. Wanzo Brown was wearing when he was apprehended, the assistant chief, Marvin Zanley, was able to check the license plate on that vehicle, in which case, you can pause and see the license plate there that reads XZTW2165. And the records show that that is registered to a Mr. Wanzo Brown.
Judge.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
So the first thing I want to ask you, and I will direct you back to that video. Do you clearly see that the person that jumped out and ran was in the driver's seat? Do you clearly see that that person was in the driver's seat? I'm gonna let you watch that one more time and come back and let me know.
All right, thank you. I got y'all.
Continuing northbound.
We're gonna be. They're smoking right now. We're
I got
gonna be in a major 1099. All additional.
Do you know if they have class 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna get ahead of them. I'm gonna play fight first.
They're already smoking. The vehicle's gonna get out. No need for spice. Oh, they just made
Major
it 1050.
1050. Careful, I'm going around.
And the vehicle's out. Watch out, they're gonna pull weapons.
We got two males fleeing.
1070 with the
Let me see
suspect.
some hands. Let me see some hands.
The vehicle's out.
Continuing northbound.
We're gonna be. They're smoking right. Careful, I'm going around.
And the vehicle's out. Watch out, they're gonna pull weapons.
We got two males fleeing.
1070 with the
Let me see some
suspect.
hands. Let me see some hands.
You can't clearly see, but
DNA,
Keep your hands up, sir.
I really can't clearly see that he jumped out. How they know? That was decent as fuck. Alright, bet. Okay, it was kind of tough to see. You did jump out on the side of the driver's side, but I couldn't
Now,
actually.
Judge, are you aware that if you are sitting in the passenger seat, you can shove over to the driver's seat, or you can also shove over to the passenger seat? Are you aware that you could do that, Judge?
Yes, sir. I am aware of that.
They do not
Okay,
have
Judge.
proof. They do not have proof.
I
that the
object.
person that
You don't get to choose whether or not we
Judge-
have proof.
can I finish my argument, Judge, please?
Objection.
Objection. Overruled.
Thank you. They do not have proof that the person that jumped out was actually the driver.
Actually, we do.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
the-
said, at 2 seconds, Judge, you can clearly see the gentleman to my left is in the driver's side of the vehicle wearing the same outfit that he was apprehended in, the same outfit of the gentleman fleeing from that side of the vehicle. Are you
Your
telling me
Honor.
that you... Let me ask you this, Mr. Brown. Did you somehow magically do a cartwheel and end up in the back so you weren't the driver? Is that it?
I can answer that question for you perfectly. I was not in that car, Ms. Ripley. Now, Judge, the person in that car, the passenger, how do they know that the drivers didn't hop over to the passenger seat and stayed there? That's the first question. Secondly, do you see how that freeway looked, Your Honor?
Yes.
The freeway does not look like that through our eyes. So on body cam, I would say that the freeway looks a little bit different. Correct? Would you agree to that?
It does look different from the way I see it.
So since things look different from that body cam footage, are we able to actually use that and go off of that? I feel like if we're going to convict somebody of something as serious as murder, then all the details should be exactly
Now,
the
I
way they
need to
are with
caution
nothing
you
changed.
here, Mr. Brown, because in previous cases that someone very similar to you has heard, you
I have
allowed
nothing.
that type of footage.
I have nothing to do with the previous case.
So neither does this judge. Don't
That's
do
irrelevant.
that. Don't
That's
do that.
that's irrelevant to the case. Your Honor, if something is slightly different, and we're talking about murder here, Your Honor, we're talking about me losing my whole life. Now, all I ask is that the evidence be exactly as it is. So if we're gonna convict somebody of that, we're gonna fight for that because that is slightly different, Your Honor.
I am aware
So-
that. Oh, go ahead, man.
What is the point you're trying to make here? Are you trying to talk about the angle of the film?
No, I'm talking about the whole integrity of the film. It's things that are
Integrity of the
different.
film.
It's things that are different from the body cam than your eyes, Miss Ripley. So I feel like if things are going to be different and not the way that it should be,
Judge, can I be honest? I feel like he's reaching.
Judge, do you
As I've stated,
not
we can
agree
move
with
on to
that?
the next piece of evidence, Judge.
If
but
someone
as I've
says
stated,
you had on a blue shirt, but your shirt was actually light green, should you be sent off to the death penalty for that? Your Honor?
Not because of the color of the shirt, but the evidence does actually show the things that happened. I'm not sure if the colors actually matter.
It don't
No.
matter, but you can see that his body, he did something, he tweaked his body cam some type of way, Your Honor. So I feel like the integrity and the credibility of that body cam footage
that's
because
actually
it's
inaccurate,
been
sir.
tweaked.
Objection. This has not been tampered with. As you can see, the source of the footage, Judge, there's no way to tamper with the color of this footage, sir.
Objection
It
sustained.
comes directly from the Axiom metal body cam.
So Judge, that's good enough quality for you to send somebody away for life, even though it looks different.
Haven't made my decision yet, signed on any sentencing, so we're not gonna go that route yet. I would like to see the next piece of evidence.
Yes, please. Let's move on to the next piece of evidence.
Okay.
Please let me know when you've had a chance to review, and I'll explain what's happening here.
Thank you. All right, chat. Let's see what we got here. Hold on. Chatters. The chatty chatters. Hey, Judge Brown is up, baby. Big decisions to make. I just want to say, this shit is not personal.
Taking over right heading towards the impound. And another right past the PDS.
Suspect pull the weapon, can I not?
Towards the impound. And another right past the PDS.
Suspect pull the weapon.
They have a mask on? They do have a mask on.
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
Suspect down.
Step forward. Attach on. Attach
223.
Did they have gloves on?
And another right past the PDS.
Suspect pull the weapon, can I not?
I can't tell.
I need to respond on that.
I no way to prove it was him. No, that's what I'm trying to see right now. That's what I'm trying to figure out right this moment.
For now.
Cause he got a mask on, right?
Right heading towards the impound. And another right past the PDS.
Suspect pull the weapon, can I not?
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
Suspect down.
Step forward. Attach on. Attach
223.
He got abducted by aliens. He's up at Pill. He's wearing he's in a white hoodie, and a Sixers jersey, I think it is. I mean, not a Sixers.
We're heading towards a gun store now.
Okay. All right. I've had time to review that evidence.
Okay, Judge. So as you see, the gentleman who fled from the driver's side vehicle of the Trackhawk was being pursued by two of our officers, at which point he turned around, drew his weapon, and fired upon them. They did shoot him. And like I said, Although Mr. Wanzo Brown is trying to use the very strange incidents that happen sometimes when you are down to his advantage, he was radioed. A general description of what he was wearing was given at the hospital. At that time, he did appear just as we thought, and just as sometimes you do, at Pillbox, and he was apprehended. But as you could see, the gentleman who fled from that red Trackhawk, which was registered to Mr. Wanzo Brown, did in fact turn and fire upon the officers.
Okay. Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
you watched that video closely, right?
I did. I had to watch it a couple of times. So
Okay. So now you weren't there, Judge. But you
That
can
is correct.
imagine. But you can imagine how fearful that situation might have been. And in a situation like that with bullets flying at you, do you think that you would have time to see what kind of gun somebody had, or what kind of jersey somebody had on, or any of those type of things?
I would imagine in that situation it'd be pretty tough.
It would
But
be pretty
I'm
tough
quite
because
sure.
you're trying to duck and dodge bullets. No, I understand these officers train, but there's no training in the world where somebody is shooting at you, right? And I couldn't see what kind of gun that person had in that video. I don't know how they were able to identify it, because once the shots started flying, you saw the officer immediately turn and run away and try to run, and then he started shooting back at the person. And by the time he got up on the person, they disappeared. So that's what I'm confused on that. And then the person had on a mask.
Would you like to repeat yourself? I just want to hear that point one more time.
Okay, so I'll make it even shorter. I don't believe the officers was able to identify the gun, the jersey, or the person because of the mask or anything like that in the heat of the moment like that, right? And when they were shooting at the person, somehow, some way, the person did disappear. So the fact that you think that person was me, I don't understand, or why you would think that I would do something like that, or what gave you the idea that that person could have been me.
Okay.
Do
Judge,
we
do you
have any
questions about this piece of evidence?
I do want to know if we have any ballistics evidence or anything of that nature.
So, unfortunately, the gun that was taken off of Mr. Wanzo Brown's body as he was apprehended at the hospital, a very illegal weapon, is considered a ghost gun. There are no traceable shell casings. However, in the second piece of evidence and the first, our police experts who handle these weapons from dangerous criminals on the street every day were able to not only identify, but also confiscate that same weapon off of him. He also tested positive for gunshot residue. Both the contents of his pockets as well as the GSR test are in your email.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
if you tested positive for GSR, that don't mean you shot at officer. If you had a gun on you that was illegal, that don't mean you shot at officer. So that proves nothing. I admit.
So
I admit.
it's not circumstantial, unfortunately.
I admit, Judge. What I will admit is that sometimes in the city, I do fear for my life. So I do take it upon myself to have some extra protection on me. You know, and I do practice. I go out far to the lake, Sandy Shores, and I do practice because when the time comes, if it ever comes, I want to be able to protect myself. That is right there the only thing that I'm guilty of, Your Honor.
So are you saying that you did have that same gun? You saying you had a gun on you?
I did not have. I don't know what kind of gun that was. That, shot those officers, and I don't think they do either. But what I'm telling you, Your Honor, is I do fear for my life sometimes, and I do take it upon myself to have protection on me.
So you're admitting that the gun was on your person, the same gun used in the shooting.
Once
and
again,
that you
I don't know.
Positive for GSR because you feared for your life when you shot at the officers.
Once again, I don't know what kind of gun that person had in the video, and I never shot at a cop in my life. I would never do such a thing. What I'm saying is, if you guys today, tomorrow, if you ever find a gun on me or something like that, it is only because I do fear for my life sometime in this city. But when I see police, a little bit of that fear goes away, Your Honor. A little bit of that fear goes away. I look at the police like heroes in this city. And honestly, I thought about not even carrying knives or anything anymore because the police have been doing a great job. And I would never be the one to bring harm to those people. We need them. My friend Salim right there, he owns a gas station. We need the law enforcement in the city to protect local businesses.
Your Honor, I'm not sure how this relates to anything that we're talking about right now. Now he's bringing up other people in the city who also have felonious backgrounds. I'm not really sure what this has to do with his charges. Today, we're here to try Wanzo Brown for the attempted murder of 2 police officers.
Okay. Objection sustained. Is there? We do have more evidence, right? Isn't there a third piece? A third
I would
video?
like to call a witness if possible.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is Stanley still here? Do you have to leave?
Your Honor, I object.
I was on scene though.
Why would you object, sir?
to what?
I object to this witness being called to the stand. I was not informed that there would be any witnesses, and I feel like before trial that should have been presented to me. I should have had everything, as I had this evidence before it was presented to you. There was nothing about a witness. Your Honor, you see this display right here? This type of people they are, Your Honor.
It was a muscle spasm. It's okay, I'll
You good, officer?
Yeah, it was just a little. I got ticks. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean, Your Honor?
So, Your Honor, are you going
These
to allow
are the
this witness,
people that's trying to convict me of murder, Your Honor. These type of people right here.
or are you going to continue to allow this man to make a mockery of your court?
I do want to hear what this witness has to say.
Okay. Let me get Chase. All right, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. Chase Santana from the LSPD to the stand, please.
All right. And can you swear this young man in, please, sir?
All right, Mr. Chase Antenna, can you raise your right hand? All right, and do you swear to everything but the truth and everything but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
All right.
Okay,
You
Mr.
can see.
Santana, I just have a few questions for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First off, how are you today?
I'm doing all right.
I know that in your line of duty, you do get, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who shoot at you and are intending to harm you. So I just want to make sure that you're doing all right today. I only get a second to breathe, huh?
Can you repeat that?
My first question for you is, do you remember what happened on the day of the shooting
Yes, I
in
do.
question? Would you be able to tell the court from your perspective what happened that day?
From the beginning, or?
Yes, from the beginning,
Okay.
please.
So I was patrolling with Sergeant Alonzo Tenpenny and Officer Bria Rose. Went over the radio. Our Assistant Chief Zanley at the time would have eyes on a red Trackhawk, which would then be 1097 or en route, as we call it. It was located right near the Rob's Liquor on Rancho Boulevard. We would ask the vehicle to pull over. It refused. It would then flee, get onto the Del Perro Freeway. Like I said, minor 1050 or crash, and make a U-turn, take a little jump off the freeway, and head down to Postal 227, where the vehicle was then broken down. 2 individuals would hop out. Myself and Sergeant Tenpenny would chase after later known Mr. Wanzo Brown, where he would then lead us down into the canals, right behind Postal 227, where he pulled a weapon and put fire on both of us.
Okay. Now, when the suspect fired upon you, let me ask you this, Mr. Santana. How often are you shot at every day?
I want to say at least like once or twice a day. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Now, when you're shot at, because it happens so often, would you say that you have a special sense of being able to identify the things that are happening around you because you're so used to it?
Mr.
Taking over right, heading towards the impound.
Let me try again.
And another right past the PDS.
That's why pull the weapon, 1099.
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
1099.
And another right past the PDS. And another right past the PDS.
That's why pull the
Taking over right, heading towards the impound. And another right past the PDS. And another right past the PDS.
That's why pull the weapon, 1099.
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
It is pretty tough to see that gun though.
And
Is we
another
back,
right
man?
PDS.
I don't know if we live. I think we might not be live. Man.
1099.
If we're not live,
I need to
then
respond on
fuck it.
that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
Back down, step back down.
Step forward, attach on, attach
223.
Okay, I don't see the witness act. Are you here, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I'm here. Another thing, not only did the person in that video not pull a gun out, he just turned around and started shooting. Once the
correct.
shots was fired, this guy right here immediately turned, so there's no way for him to see the gun. And also, he did have on sunglasses. And if you running and turning and ducking bullets, it
Are you
is
looking at
possible.
both videos or just one?
It is possible for your glasses to get disoriented on your face and block some of your vision, Your Honor. So not only did he lie under oath, he's not credible. He had on glasses and all type of things, Your Honor. I rest my case on the cross-examine.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, if you don't mind me asking, were you able to review both pieces of footage from the shooting?
Actually, I
There
didn't
were
realize that
two.
was. Yeah, I didn't realize that was the second one, so I'm gonna check that one out right now. One moment, please. Chat, I don't know, like, if my shit tweaking, bro. My shit tweaking like a motherfucker, so I don't know. I don't even know if I just got that video, but it's all good, though. Let's get it.
Square now. In the
Our
courthouse now.
suspect's bunny hopping.
10-4.
We're going down into canals now.
We're heading towards the gun store now. Taking over right, heading towards the impound. Another right past. Another right past. PDM.
That's why pull the weapon, 1099.
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
Our
House now.
suspect's bunny hopping.
10-4.
We're going down into canals now.
We're heading towards the gun store now. Taking over right, heading towards the impound. Another right past PDM.
That's why pull the weapon, 1099.
I need to respond on that.
I'm gonna break off and go ahead, man.
Step back
Step
down,
forward,
step
I
back
got-
down.
Chat, we live? I'm assuming we live, man. Cause OBS tripping on me. I'm assuming, I guess, because I ain't upgraded them, updated or some shit. Okay, I was able to check out that second video.
Fantastic.
Your
Okay,
Honor, Your
so
Honor.
my point. Well, hold on, it's still my piece of evidence here. Thank you.
Okay.
My point here is that, as you could see, as the suspect that was apprehended at Pillbox was at the end of the tunnel there, he did not have a weapon in his hand, right?
That is correct.
So, in between the time that he got out of the tunnel and the time that the officers came out of the tunnel, you can see where he pulled the weapon in the split second as they rounded the corner, and he turned his body and fired upon them.
Your Honor.
It's literally there, like in the footage.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Have you ever seen someone pull a weapon out before?
I have.
So you know it is not something that can happen within a split second, right? And this guy on the stand just told you, not only did he not remember if he had his glasses on, right? After just reviewing the evidence with us, right? He also said he saw me pull the gun out, right? He's accusing me of pulling a gun out, and he said he saw it. But the person that video did not pull a gun out. The gun was in his hand. So if he did pull a gun out, it was at that time where they lost each other. When the officers were in the tunnel and the guy from the video was out of the tunnel. And they wouldn't have been able to saw that. And that
Can I
other
ask
piece
a question?
Your Honor, that other piece of evidence that we just watched, it was just more of the same. It showed nothing new. So this officer just lied on your stand under oath.
He did not lie, actually.
Your Honor, you saw his body cam, which was basically his eyes. You didn't see a gun being pulled out. You also saw
So where did the gun come
sunglasses.
from, Mr. Brown? What did it magically appear in his hand?
I can't answer that question. I was not there. If I was, I promise you.
So you're debating the fact that there's a way that you could have magically ended up at Pillbox, but not the fact that a gun magically appeared in your hand?
I'm not debating anything. I'm just here
Okay.
saying I'm innocent. Your Honor, you saw me in your courtroom several times.
Yes.
And you saw the levels that these officers and prosecutors will go to try to convict me for whatever reason, because they know that I'm trying to start a business up. And they don't want to see that happen. Your Honor, he just lied to you on your stand. We can sit here and go back and forth all day, but the fact is he just lied to you on your stand. And you
It was
know
not
this.
a lie. I object.
So the fact that he feel like he has to lie in order to get a conviction,
Objection.
that's the base
Objection
of this whole case,
sustained.
Your Honor.
All right. Do we have any more witnesses?
I'd actually like to call Mr. Wanzo Brown to the stand.
I have a witness, actually, Your Honor.
You do?
Yes.
Who is this witness, son?
I'd like to call
son,
Mr.
you can-
Salim to the stand.
Was he present?
He's not present, but he's a character witness.
All right. Thank you, young man. You can leave the stand.
And once you're done, I'll go to the stand.
Can we get this young man sworn in?
Bailiff. Ms. Ripley, would you mind calling you guys as bailiff?
Sure.
Gotti.
Man, I
Your
hate
Honor.
my tongue was going crazy. Yes, sir.
Can I have a word with you in your chamber?
Absolutely not without me being present.
Okay.
You want to go up there?
Yeah,
You-
no,
the
that's
pros-
not
the
gonna
prosecutor
fly.
could be present, but it will be short.
All right.
It'll be short. Just a
Come
quick
on.
2 seconds.
Bye bye. Hello, guys.
Is we live though? I think we live again, man. I think I might have lost that footage too. Fuck.
We have Chop Keys, Arizona, Bushwoods,
It's
everything.
the same footage, gang. Nothing new.
Excuse me.
Almighty.
Postal 360.
Mr. Brown, you are making an absolute mockery of this court.
I'm not making a mockery
You
of this courtroom.
100% are. Accusing someone of basically lying on the stand? Now you know
He
good and
did.
damn well what that footage showed.
He did lie. He said that he saw the person pull the gun out, which he did not see. Also, I want to bring you guys back here to show you how these officers operate. Miss Ellen Ripley, you're a great prosecutor, and I'm not connecting you with the LSPD in no shape, form, or fashion. But the evidence that they handed you is all types of wrong. Right now, I understand that you're just doing the job, but you got to understand that these guys are corrupt and dirty. That's why their chief is on suspension right now, because they are a corrupt department. Now, I know you want to see the same thing I want to see is justice. But let me show you one thing that these guys do, how they operate or out there on the field, which is not a way that LSPD should operate. And that last piece of evidence, that you had us look at. Could you go to 12 seconds and can you see what that man did?
If you're talking about the state IDs, is that what you're talking about?
State IDs. He
Do
illegally.
you understand why they do that?
So I will never understand why somebody had to
They're
put on
trained
X-ray.
to do that when a suspect is no longer in their vision during a chase, because unfortunately, some suspects like to somehow, I don't know, fly out of the city in the middle of a chase.
I feel like that should be something that's the last resort to go to. I'm just around the corner. Once you turn the corner, you'll see me. There's no need to put on X-ray goggles
You're
and do
reaching
all
right now.
and do all this other stuff.
You're reaching.
And I just want to show you how these guys operate, which is not by the book, and they will do anything to anybody in order to win. Now, I just wanted to make that known that in this courtroom, like I was saying, Miss Ellen Ripley, I'm not tying you to the LSPD and how they operate. I do want you to know that you're fighting the wrong fight right now.
You
I'm
shot
innocent.
at 2 officers.
I did not shoot at
Lonzo.
anyone. I did not shoot at anyone. They out there, they chasing people with glasses. The guy, your witness, your first witness, had on glasses. And he's out there ducking and rolling and all this stuff, glasses all over his face. He didn't see anything. He's out there blindly shooting. He could have friendly fired one of his officers. Those glasses are a hazard for situations like that. Judge, would you agree with that?
In certain circumstances, I would. Being a man that wear glasses, I know I need mine. But mine's also not shades.
And I asked him, she asked him, did he have any eye problems? And he said no. He said his eyes are perfect. And then when I asked him about it, he said, oh, it's just sunglasses. You know, sunglasses are dark. So if those glasses fall just a little bit and that black bar at the top gets over your eye, you can't see anything. However, he was still shooting to hit one of his partners. But that's all I wanted to make known.
Well, Mr. Brown, what I would say is that if you feel like a city law, something that we wouldn't really talk about here in this court, was broken, then that's something that you would need to speak to a government official about, right? So if you feel like that piece of evidence breaks a city law, then we can excuse it and use the prior piece, which is the same, basically
No,
same part
it's
of what happened.
no, it's okay. I don't feel like it's deep enough to go to the FBI about it. I just wanted you guys to see that these guys are just willing to do anything.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for pointing that out. I did miss that at first.
Yeah.
And
Miss Hills, by the
one
way,
more time,
Miss Ellen Ripley.
why do you say they do that, ma'am?
Well, they are trained to do that because unfortunately, when you lose vision of a suspect, there's a very high chance that that person is no longer in the city. It's become a very
Understandable.
common thing when they are in the middle of a chase, especially of suspects who typically will have drugs, guns, things like that. They're attempting to flee in a way that is not lawful and something that's the best way to describe it, above us.
Would you say it was? Would you say it was necessary in that situation? Honestly,
I would say if those same state IDs were hovering above the head for longer than a second, then yes, absolutely, it would be awful for them to do that.
Would you say that even doing that at that point and right there with the person that was right there, would you say that that was necessary?
What would it have changed?
It wouldn't have changed anything.
Do you feel like it would have changed the impact of what happened right after?
I don't believe it would have changed the outcome.
Was there a
I don't
secret
believe.
passage there that maybe if they had seen that, they would have been able to find the suspect faster?
Okay, I didn't think that I didn't connect you with the LSPD at first, but now I do. So, I'm gonna bid you a good evening. My witness, Mr. Salim. Did you already get sworn in?
No, not.
Not yet. I'll go ahead and do that now. Miss Celine, can you please stand?
Okay.
All right, Miss Celine. 1 second. You raise your hands for me.
Sorry. Oh shit.
Oh, wow. Do you swear that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Everything will be the truth.
Sir, you may be seated, Mr. Slim.
How you doing, Mrs. Lane?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
You know me. I come to your gas station often, correct?
Yes, you are number one customer.
Would you just please describe to the courtroom the type of person that I am?
Let me tell you, this man right in front of me, warm-hearted individual, the nicest man you ever meet. If it wasn't for him, I would not be wearing this shirt right now and representing the LTD gasoline.
Thanks, bro.
This man has done a lot of things for me and Basharam. And all I want to say is the PD is the most stupidest people I have ever met. They have blown up the gas station 3 times, don't want to say sorry, arresting me, tasering me for no reason, almost shooting me. Then Terry Tempenny killed Basharam's horse for no reason. Okay? So all I would like to say is that Mr. Joe is very and he deserves better.
What was that last pause? You needed a cough drop.
So, Mr. Zoe deserves better. He didn't do nothing wrong. And fuck the police.
Son, if you curse one more time in my courtroom, I'll give you 50 months community service.
No.
I'll rest my case. Thank you, Mr. Salim.
No problem.
Would the prosecution like to cross-examine
I
the
sure
witness?
would.
Hold on,
Mr.
Mr. Salim.
Salim, please have a
Mr.
Yeah,
seat.
go ahead and sit back down, son.
Mr.
Thank you.
Salim, do you have a criminal record?
Yes, I do.
When is the last time you were arrested for a felony or a misdemeanor?
I'm not sure.
You're not too sure?
No.
Can I remind you that you are under oath?
Yes. I'm under oath, but I'm not sure. I know I've been arrested.
Okay, and what were you arrested for, Mr. Salim?
Love you. Thank you.
So I was arrested for stealing.
I'm sorry?
I was arrested for stealing Mr. Terry's vehicle after he unlawfully arrested me.
So you stole a police vehicle
I am not
from
finished.
the chief of police?
I'm
Okay,
not
go
finished.
ahead.
After he unlawfully arrested me, slapped me for no reason. I was just trying to go to hospital. I was bleeding.
Do you have any other felonies, Mr. Salim?
I'm not finished. Alright. I'm not finished. Okay. He arrested me for that reason. And then he stopped the car because I wasn't feeling well. I get in the car, I drive away. The police caught me later. And then I get arrested.
Your Honor, since Mr. Brown introduced this witness and his record and character's been called into question, I'd like to read off his arrest record from the
No, thank you.
last 2 weeks.
No, thank
All right.
you.
So, Mr. Windar has been charged with grand theft auto of a government vehicle, fleeing and evading, assault of an LEO,
Whoa.
possession of an illegal firearm ×2, and grand theft auto and possession of a class 1 weapon.
You said that was in 2 weeks?
Correct.
Your Honor, I object. He's not the one that's on trial here. He was just
No.
here to just give a character witness.
Yeah, man.
I
What the hell, man?
understand. However, I am actually testifying to the character of this witness.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you're calling someone up to be a character witness for you and they have a substantial record, safe to say that we can't really regard what he says with very much importance.
I have changed my ways.
He's rehabilitated.
I think people deserve a chance. people change.
That's a pretty lengthy rap sheet in 2 weeks, young man.
I wanted to rehabilitate it. Okay. What judgment? I think,
That-
I have
okay.
no further
Does the
questions.
state? All right, thank you.
That'll be all,
Sir,
Your
you can be dismissed.
Alright. Goodbye.
All right, and I think the state said they wanted to call Mr. Wanzo Brown to the stand.
I sure would like to. Yes.
All right, Mr. Brown, do you solemnly swear that this testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You may be seated.
Would the state like to start with the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. So, Mr. Brown, can you tell me about your day on the day that you were charged with attempted murder of 2 LEOs?
Yes. I was out fishing up north, trying to get some Atlantic salmon. I wanted to do a catch and cook video. I always watch catch and cook videos, but I wanted to start my own channel. You know, I've been inspired by a couple of guys on there that catch a few things. So I said, why not go get me some Atlantic salmon, you know? Now, in the process of doing that, when I was baiting my hook, the hook had went in my finger a little bit. And it was rusty because it was in the garage for so long. You know, my granddad's old stuff. So I said, oh my God, I don't want tetanus. So let me go down the pill box and, you know, get treated, get a tetanus shot for this, you know? And I was kind of dirty, so I stopped at a clothing store on my way to pill box. I changed clothes, you know, and once I went to pill box, got situated, I realized I left something outside. So I walked out, and once I walked out, officers was put me in cuffs and told me I was guilty of a crime that I know I would never commit.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Hmm.
What type of bait do you use for the fish that you catch for your videos?
I use worms.
Okay, and what about your fishing rod? What kind of rod is it?
It's a let me see, because that one is that. It's kind of older because it's my granddad's. What you mean? What kind? Like what color is it? How do it look?
Yes.
So it's a green fishing rod. So it's actually a casting rod. It's made by Rika, 7 feet. 7 feet casting rod.
Okay. Mr. Brown, can you direct your eyes to the contents of your pockets from that day?
Huh?
Do you see the
Oh, my pockets. Okay, give me one
yes,
second.
the recount of what was found in your pockets and on your person that day? Do you see it?
Okay, yeah, I see what's in my pockets that day. You do know that that soda can is a false can. I put the worms in there.
You put the worms in the can. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that also what you use the synthetic opioid for?
No, I use the synthetic opioids for drugs. That's not what we're on trial for today.
For drugs? What
Yes.
kind of
Yes, ma'am.
for drugs? Are you saying that you make drugs?
I'm not saying anything into that, but I do like drugs. That's what I will say. But that's not what I'm on trial for. If you want to charge me for that, then a whole nother day.
And how about the 363 5.56 bullets? Where did you acquire those?
I buy them all over town. I'm sort of a prepper. I believe that one day we'll all need bunkers and a lot of ammunition when the world ends. And I don't want to be the only one that's left unprepared, you know?
Okay. And can you tell us where you got this FN pistol?
FN pistol?
Yes.
That's been passed down. It's been in my family for a long time.
Okay. Now, can you also tell us why you tested positive for GSR?
I can tell you why. Would you like me to tell you why?
I think
Yes,
that,
sir.
I think
I would
the
like
judge
to
would
know.
like to hear that. Yes.
Because when I was up there fishing, now I don't know what's all in that water. And I don't know what's all up there. I've heard about mountain lion stories and stuff like that up there. So I just shot one in the air. So if there was any predators around, they would know not to come in the area where I'm fishing at.
So, a couple of things. Where do you store your fishing gear? Because it wasn't on your person at Pillbox where you were apprehended.
I had a car outside. It was in that car.
Okay. And what vehicle was that?
It was a Wraith.
A Wraith.
Yeah.
Is that car registered to you? Are you aware that no Wraith was found on scene?
I'm not aware of that. Did I say I parked that pillbox?
Your Honor, I'd like to note that the witness just lied on the stand.
Did I say I parked that pillbox, Your Honor? What part did I lie about?
Where did you park your vehicle, Mr. Brown?
It's a garage not too far from pillbox. I just stored it there and ran down the pillbox.
How did you say you ran down? Okay.
So, if you ran down and went inside, do you have anyone who would have seen you go inside?
Yeah, it was just people up there. It was pretty populated, but I don't remember those people. They don't remember me. Do you remember everybody who you saw 2 days ago?
No, but I do recall you asking the witness why I didn't remember he had glasses on. So I'm just.
That's something I will remember.
Okay.
Especially if I wear glasses every single day.
Okay. So, Mr. Brown, it's your testimony that you, in fact, did go fishing that day, although no fishing equipment was found on you. It's also your testimony that you were at Pillbox for a cut on your hand that you sustained while fishing. Is that correct? What EMS helped you out at the Pillbox Hospital?
Treasure.
Treasure. Treasure treated your wounds? Your Honor, if it's possible, I'd like to call a brief recess. Since he brings up a witness, I would like to introduce her, but I'd also need like 5 or so minutes just to bring her to the court.
Your Honor,
This is all part of
Your Honor,
discovery.
I object, Your Honor.
And why do you object?
I've been waiting on my freedom for I don't know how many months. I've been laying down in that cell every day, and I'm ready to put this behind me.
I would like to know if I would want to know what that doctor has to say. So we'll do a 5-minute recess. I need a moment to eat, and I'll be in my chambers for 5 minutes. 5-minute countdown.
Nah, he just better start cussing over there, boy.
Hey, get up, man.
Order in the court. Thank you. I'm not gonna ask again.
Got some charges that say different. I'm an innocent man.
Oh, really?
I'm an innocent man. Misunderstood. A long time no see, Judge.
I do apologize for that wait. The young lady had issues with her flight.
Yeah, 5 minutes is, I guess, different in this realm.
No, not at all.
Treasure
I value my
helped you
time.
out, you said, so I would imagine you'd want her to be here, right?
Not really, because you know, with the HIPAA Act, doctors can't even disclose patient information.
Yeah, that's to a third party.
Judge,
Yes,
Judge,
sir. Yes, son.
She's already in.
I fought like a fight, Judge, and I'm innocent,
I think
Judge.
you gotta go up to the stand.
You know,
Here she is.
and I'm just exhausted at this point, Judge. I'm trying to prove my innocence because I am innocent.
Your Honor, can we save this type of banter for closing arguments?
Absolutely.
I
Can we
believe our
have the
witness is
witness?
here.
Can we have her at the stand? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to call Miss Treasure to the stand, please.
Trust need that first class.
All right, Miss Treasure. You can
Yes,
go ahead
sir.
and put your hands up for me. Please face me. Do you solemnly
Okay.
swear? You go ahead and put them. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear this testimony will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Okay. How are you, Miss Treasure?
I'm great, Your Honor. How are you?
Doing great. So, were you working at Pillbox Hospital the night before last?
Yes, I am. Yes, I was.
Okay. Now, do you happen to recall treating anyone in this court?
Yes, a few of these people in this court look like my patients.
Okay. Can you point anyone out in particular?
The officer right here to my left, I've treated him. The one to my right, I've treated him as well.
Was this all on the same day?
I don't recall, yeah, honestly.
What's the original question?
Okay. Well, let's rephrase. How about that? Do you happen to recall treating anyone 2 nights ago who is not a police officer that's in this room at the moment?
Yes, a few people.
Okay. Any of them stick out in particular?
Yes, Basharam and Shalim.
Okay.
Hello.
And how about this gentleman here in the suit? Have you ever treated him before?
Yes, I
The
have
pinstripe
treated
suit.
Mr. Brown.
Okay, so you recognize him, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Okay,
He's one
what
of my
did you
longtime
treat him
patients.
for?
Oh, wow. I've treated him multiple times. I really can't recall indirectly. He's had some bee stings, a few cuts, dog bites. I think he broke his leg one time. He has a couple. He had it's a few different things. I can't recall per se.
Okay, so the night before last, did you happen to treat anyone for anything other than a gunshot wound? Or, in
Yes,
fact, did
ma'am.
you treat Mr. Brown for anything other than a gunshot wound?
I honestly have never treated Mr. Brown for a gunshot wound.
Okay, good to know. The other question that I have for you, is it your understanding? Has there ever been a time where someone has appeared in Pillbox that maybe did not walk through the front doors?
Yeah, that happens a lot, honestly.
Okay.
Yep, right in the big room.
And typically, with your expertise clocking in many hours at the hospital, how does that happen?
Someone could get injured. They could land on the plane and just end up in pillbox. It's a lot of different ways. Honestly, get hit by a car. They could be riding in a car. It's just random, honestly.
Okay, so typically it means that someone has suffered a fatal wound and ended up at pillbox due to some unforeseen circumstance that we can't really describe, right?
I wouldn't say it in those words, but I've landed at pillbox a time or two, and I didn't suffer any injuries. It's just random, honestly.
Okay, but it does happen.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask you in particular, okay? And this is very important. I know you said you've treated Mr. Brown quite a bit for non-bullet wounds. Do you remember 2 nights ago treating Mr. Brown at around 2:13 a.m. as a result of a fishing accident?
That sounds familiar. I can't recall indirectly. I see so many people every day. However, if I did treat Mr. Brown for that reason, I wouldn't be able to say due to his HIPAA law regulations.
Actually, HIPAA is waived because you're in a court of law.
Okay.
So essentially, there's something called judicial and administrative proceedings with the HIPAA law for anyone who's wondering. That basically states that a HIPAA-covered healthcare provider can, in fact, share your protected health information if it is under a court proceeding.
With a court
Just in
order.
case anyone was wondering. Yes, yes. So we are here under a court proceeding. You are under oath.
Right.
So you said you cannot recall if you treated him for that?
I have treated him. I've treated him for many things, honestly. Lots of things. Like, I see so many people I just don't remember off the top of my head, but that sounds familiar. It definitely sounds familiar.
Okay. Now, do you recall anyone else who was working with you at the time who may have treated him for that, or were you the only one working at the hospital?
We all have different shifts. Ivy's there a lot. Trey's there a lot. My chief Bree, she's in and out. Real White. It could have been anyone, honestly.
Now, I do need to ask you, and I do beg your pardon. Has anyone contacted you prior to you coming here other than your chief of EMS?
No.
You've had no contact with anyone, including a Mr. Duke Jackson or any of Mr. Brown's friends, correct?
No. No, ma'am.
And how about the young lady, Miss Terry, in the court? Have you had a chance to speak with her before coming in today?
I don't know who Miss Terry is.
She's the young lady in the EMS shirt in the back of the court.
Oh, she spoke to me, yes. She spoke to me when I came in.
Okay, and can I ask you the nature of that conversation?
Oh, she just told me that they were going to question me regarding some of my patients.
Okay,
I
and did
wasn't
she
aware.
give you any inclination as to what I'd be asking you today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Judge, because she did infer that she spoke with her, I would like to introduce into evidence the 2 photos that I sent to you that show Mr. Duke Jackson approaching, Mr. Duke Jackson and one of Mr. Brown's associates approaching the young lady in the blue, who now we have just connected to having a conversation with Miss Treasure. And Mr. Brown, let me provide you with that as well.
Damn.
Got a bad cut, bro. Can't do it. Your Honor, did you have a chance to review that shit? Did you send it to me directly, Ms. Ripley?
I sure did, and I also sent you the video to accompany it of some of your friends speaking very loud in front of a police officer.
Okay, once I'm done watching this, I'll cross-examine.
Yo, break it up.
Do y'all need help?
Hey, yeah, wasn't you there with Treasure the other day? When me and my nigga Zoe was up there fishing?
Yeah, niggas go see. We go.
Yo, break it up.
Do y'all need
All right, I reviewed the evidence.
Okay. I would actually like to strike Miss Treasure's testimony from the record. There's no way that we can tell whether or not she treated Mr. Brown. And unfortunately, the contact that she had prior to coming in today seems to have been influenced by a conversation that was had out in the courtyard with Mr. Brown's friends. Not to mention, the police actually informed me just before Miss Treasure got here that they confiscated a phone from Mr. Brown, and there's no way for us to know if either of these witnesses were tampered with.
Your Honor,
Yes.
let me know and I can cross-examine.
I would allow you to actually cross-examine this young lady today.
Okay, I have no further questions.
How you doing, Miss Treasure?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to first off, start off by thanking you for all the times you treated me and all your other patients in here.
I appreciate it.
So my first question to you, in your experience, you have a lot of run-ins with law enforcement, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced a law enforcement officer fabricating a story?
Not in my personal, but I have heard of it from other people and my patients. They talk about it.
Okay. Have you ever saw an officer go after a certain individuals, like have vendettas against certain people, like target people?
In the past, yes.
Have you ever saw officers harassing people?
Both ways. Both ways.
I object,
Okay.
Your Honor. What does this have to do with Mr. Brown's charges?
Objection overruled. You can continue.
Is it fair to say that you do treat a lot of people and you don't remember what you treat everybody for?
That's absolutely honest. That's just honest, yes. I
Okay.
treat like 80 people a day, honestly.
Do you keep record of these treatments?
No, we don't. We would like to.
Okay, so if someone broke their toe and came and saw you, let's say 2 days ago, is it possible that you can forget that?
Yes, it is possible.
Okay. So as Prosecutor Ripley pointed out, you had words with the young lady back there.
Yes.
How long was you guys talking?
For all of probably 15 seconds.
Okay, and it was outside the courtroom?
It was right here at the door. Someone asked if I was supposed to stay outside or inside.
Okay, so when you had the conversation with her, it was a lot of witnesses around, like a lot of people around.
Yeah, it was in a hallway, and then the officer, one of the officers took me to the side and interrupted the conversation, so it wasn't long at all.
Okay, so if she was to tell you something to say in here, then it would have been overheard, correct?
Yeah, it should have been, yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. The witness can be dismissed. Okay. Can we go ahead and get our closing statements from both sides, starting with the prosecution, starting with the state?
Sure. So as we've seen today, Judge, Mr. Wanzo Brown was apprehended at Pillbox Hospital after he was seen shooting at 2 officers fleeing in his own vehicle, a red Trackhawk, which was identified on the scene. He was found in possession of the weapon that was used to shoot at said officers. Once apprehended, they did find him in possession, like I said, of that weapon and the bullets that accompany that weapon. The state's intention was to prove today that Mr. Wanzo Brown is indeed the person who attempted to murder 2 police officers. That's it.
All right, thank you. And can the defense come and offer their closing statement, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, today, first of all, I want to say thank you for your time. Officers did prove something today. They proved that the truth is not everything to them. And they also proved that they were shot at, Your Honor. They proved that indeed. They just didn't prove that it was me. They have no witness to say that this is the person that shot at me. They have no solid, concrete evidence. And they also have no motive or reason for me to shoot at these people.
Thank you, bro. I love you.
I'm innocent, Your Honor. You saw me in here multiple times where these officers have tried to sabotage me for whatever reason, and today was another day, and I ask that you continue to let justice win. Thank you.
I do have one final question for you, Mr. Wanzo, before I make my decision.
Yes.
You never said who was driving your Trackhawk that day.
I honestly don't know. I have a lot of friends. I'm cool with a lot of people, and sometimes I let them drive my cars, Your Honor. And if I'm wrong for that, if you tell me that that's not the right thing to do, then I'll stop doing it. Otherwise, if somebody need a car and I have multiple cars, you know, people might have to go to work, people might have to take their kids to school, anything. I don't mind lending a helping hand, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, young man.
No problem.
Okay. I've heard a lot of evidence. I've seen a lot of evidence, heard a lot of witnesses. This is a tough one right here. The court would like to rule in the case, the state versus Wanzo Brown. The defendant is not guilty of charges. I don't see enough evidence to order in my court. Order in the court. Order in the court. Order in the court. Thank you. Next outburst.
Look like an easy dub.
Thank you.
PD on this bitch sad as hell.
Sick as hell with the
Can't fuck with me.
Court is adjourned.
Hey, she did her thing.
Somebody better get a party going.
Unfollow. Bye, my nigga. Don't never come back. Bye, my nigga. Don't never come back.
Hey, look, man. Taco shop, man. We better turn this bitch up, man. Go to the club, man. You hear me? Man, them tacos don't be it, man. Hey, good kid.
That nigga said unfollow. Bye, nigga. Don't never come back, nigga. Bye. Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on, my nigga. Bye. I know who you think you talking to. The fuck? Better find out somebody to play with, nigga. The fuck? No, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good one. Ms. Ripley, come see me about that matcha.
I do want to say this, Mr. Wanzo.
Yes,
I really hope I don't see you in my court again, son. That the mask.
Your Honor, with all due respect, that's out of my control. If these people want to continue to drag me in here over false charges, I cannot help that. I will show up. I will not run from justice, Your Honor. So if I am in your courtroom again, then it's out of my hands, Your Honor. So with all due respect, I apologize for any inconvenience on the state today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Matcha latte, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't drink with murderers.
Shut up, idiot.
Like I said, I told you what the outcome was going to be. We can't stick anything on that guy. It's like he has the keys to the city or something.
I swear to God. What the fuck? Hey, boss man. I'm telling your wife, by the way.
Tell my wife what?
Calling other girls pretty.
Shit, babe. You think you did good today?
I did the best I could do with the evidence that was presented, young man. Why are you standing right here?
Am I not allowed to be here?
I mean, you definitely allowed to be in here.
So
Just
fuck
need to
off.
No.
Can you remove yourself from the court?
Remove
Thank you.
Bitch.
Yeah, I mean, they found an FN on him, but he
Just
can't
kidding.
give
I'm
it
just
back
kidding.
if
I'm
it's
just kidding.
illegal.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He can't have any of that stuff back.